You're tuned into another Average Angler live match video. This is the start, about 15 minutes before the all-in. I'm on the main lake at SHIPLATE, for those that don't recognise it. I know very little about it in terms of the fact this is the second time I fished it. I know that it's full of big fish and lots of skimmers, I know that. But other than that, I know very little about it. I'm on Matt Culpin's teams of 3 league. This is the first round. Every round is going to be at SHIPLATE, and every round you switch lakes. There's 3 lakes, so I'll be fishing each lake twice, and I'll try and video every one if I can. So this is the first round. I've got 15 minutes before I start. I'm already kind of set up. My initial plan is going to be to just start slapping out in the middle here. There's been signs of fish shallow, and as you can see I've got a bit of ripple on my side, but there's not so much ripple on the other side, so I'm hoping that means I'll be able to catch slapping. I'll give it 15 minutes without any feed, and then if nothing happens I'll just start pinging some pellets over the top, probably about 14 metres, slap at 14 metres and see what happens, and then I'll build that line up and hopefully catch on it. That's the idea, and then I can just catch on that all day, on and off. And I've got and then what I've got is I've got a margin here and a margin here, both with the same rig, so that's for later on at the end. I've got some corn for that. I've plumbed up a line in the open water for silver, so if it turns into a really hard day, or if I have a few early fishing and you can't get anything, I've got some baits to try down there. I've got Right guys, we're just over an hour in, we're about an hour and 15 minutes in, and all I've got is a skimmer. I've been slapping non-stop out there. Can't seem to get anything to take any interest in the slapping at all. It's been really, really windy. The wind suddenly dropped off now, which is typical. I've even had a go at tapping for a bit, just to see if I can make something happen. So what I've done is I've come off it because I just feel like it's going nowhere fast, and I can always get another slapping rig out later if I feel like that's something, but it don't seem like it is. So I just fired some 8mm out at a nice comfortable range where I can group them together nicely, just past pole, like 16, 17 metres, probably 17 metres out. And I'm just chucking a method feeder over the top of it with micros and a wafter on, just for now, just to see if I can nick a fish or whatever. I think there's a lot of skimmers and stuff in this lake, so I might pick up the odd skimmer. Not a lot being caught on my lake, maybe 1 or 2 people. There's a couple of people that might have more than 1 carp. There's a couple of people that have got 1 carp and that's it. Most of us have got nothing. So I've got 1 very small skimmer. Now the wind's dropped. I mean, the wind, this is as flat as it's been all day. As soon as I've started setting up something different, I mean, I've been at it for around 15 minutes. How much longer did I have to wait? So there we are. Where I've fired them pellets in, there's definitely fish there, so I'm going to keep. Oops. So what I've done is I've tied a little stop knot onto my line in the elastic, and that's my little fishing to my clip, and then all I'll do is drop that cast in, drop that down, and then as soon as it's on the deck, I'll just take the clip off in case I hit a big fish, because there's lots of big fish in here, double big, carp's 20 pounds. I'm not putting a lot of bait in through this. It's just with all them pellets down there, it's just getting them to come and have a look at my feeder, so I'm just filling it flush like that. These are green swim stim pellets that I had managed to get hold of cheap. I'm just trying to plop this on top of where it's quite difficult because it's quite a short cast. Drop it on top of where pop the clip off. I've not set up a rest, I'm just lying it on me keep nets. I've got a little 9-foot feeder rod here. Right guys, finally an hour and a half in, or maybe a bit longer. I've hooked something, I think it's a bream. Ripped off like it was a carp, I think it's a bream. I'll take it to Skin Bob's. Can't get my net up for some reason, it's got some line. Little skim I got on the a little yellow wafter, a little yellow wafter should I say. I'll put some bait out because that's what I've been doing, so I've been just putting that over these, and then I'm chucking the bomb just past, well, the method actually just past what I'm doing. I'm casting past and just winding down until I get to my little stop knot. When I look at fish, obviously if I don't look at fish I can just put it on before I wind in. And then, that's what we do. We'll stick with the little yellow wafter because that worked nicely this time. Got all sorts of colours in here. Put my little bait, queuing one hook, it's just sticking to my fingers. Just push the in, just check to make sure it's not floating. I ain't got no water on my side tray, so just, he's actually floating that one. I'll just nick a bit off at the end of him. He's floating as well, so this is what you've got to be careful if you get a floaty one. Let's try this brown one, see if he floats. You don't want your hook popping up off the, well, you can't see this, but basically if you that's it. So that's not floating, so the hook sinks. I'll drop it in the water like that, and if that's the surface of the water, I want the pellet to go down and disappear under the water like that, not sit on top of the water like that. Simple as that. And I've been putting a tiny amount in, really cramming that in. I'm not bothered if that stays on the feeder that bit. It's just to keep some attraction. Just to keep some attraction around my hook bait, even if all the pellets have been sucked up or fallen off on the. I do a very good job of this in front of the cameras, am I? Just squeeze it on nice and firm. I want to make sure that's on there. I can get out the back there, but it won't matter. If Bream sees that, I'll just suck it up bang, and they're all feeding all over the bottom anyway, so shouldn't take us too long. It's a nail one. Let that all land in a nice straight line. Take the line clip off. Sink all the line. You come off the method feeder because it just weren't working. Been pinging bait over there anyway. And then where we put some micros in. Foul locker, I'm sure that was a foul lock fish. Where we put some micros in earlier. Just gone over there and I've had a run of bream, and I've just up that carp, and I thought I'd turn the cameras on for that carp and see if I can get him out, but I'm not sure what went on there, but he weren't pulling very hard, but he was a big old lump. I think he was foul locked. So let's see where we are in the match at the minute, because it's 1:30. Started at 11, so we're 2.5 hours in. Sun's come out, the wind's dropped. I should have kept me. I should Should have kept me slapping rig going, I think, but I've started feeding past the slapping where I'm been slapping now, so I feel like it's probably blown. I've got about 4 or 5 pound of skimmers now, which probably puts me on a carp. Like a few people have got a carp at the minute, so it's fishing that hard. People that have got features like an island or something are doing alright. Fish definitely want to be really, really shallow. I might have another go at tapping in a minute now the wind's dropped off. Might set me tapping rig up and just go out and tap for a minute, 20 minutes. Fish all over the, there's carp all about the place, so maybe they'll come to it, who knows. So I thought I'd hook that one properly, because when I struck him, the float didn't come out of the water. Normally if you foul hook them, the float comes out of the water, 6 or 8 inches, and then the elastic comes out, but literally that seemed like that fish was on the bottom, so maybe he was feeding and I've just hooked him in a fin or something, feeding down there on my micro. So anyway, that's the update. I've got £5 and I'm nowhere at the moment. Sun's come out now, it's like a completely different day. My coat's too hot, I don't want to take it off because I've got loads and loads of layers. I'm getting more indications again now. Coat's up and down like a yo-yo, like there's fish off the bottom. Might be that these micros are sending them a bit doolally. So I might put some chopped worm down this line in a minute, because at the moment nothing's, although I'm picking up odd fish off it, it's not much going on. I really was hoping to do like 20-30 pound of silvers while it's quiet, give myself something to take me into the final sort of phase of the match where it might be short fishing, or maybe I'll catch. I'm still pinging bait out where I was putting the method feeder in. Big 8mm baits out there, in the hope that, missed a bite, in the hope that maybe I can, we got one, skimmer. Yeah, in the hope that maybe I can chuck the feeder out there later if things don't quite go right on this. Maybe this line had gone funny because there was a carp on it. Maybe the skimmers are back now. He's definitely had it right down. I did have a couple of indications while I was talking to you though, so they probably would have struck at them normally. They were probably the early bites. I would have had in then. So I'm going to stick it knocking some skimmers out for a bit. Nothing fantastic's happening. I was running away with it, so odd people having fish. I've got thoughts in my head about, should I put some bait down the margins? Should I go back to shallow tapping and snapping for a bit? Should I put some worms in on this line? I'm just pinging 8mm. Keep pinging them. Out there where the method feeder is. That was going in. I can always chuck back on that for a bit if things like it's fizzing there. The green line's fizzing now, so there's something in the swim stirring it up, which is good. Maybe I'll hook him straight off the bat. So I've had 1 or 2 better skimmers, and then you saw that skimmer that I just had there. That's like the average size, I'd say. And then I've had one that was probably £2 and one that's £1.50. I've had some better ones. I've had like £3.5 for 2 fish, and then I've had some like 4 or 5 smaller ones. Oh, really strange. These skimmers are off the bottom at the moment. It was a lift bite, but I did connect with something, but I don't quite know what's going on. The way it pinged out was like a foul up to fish off the deck. Often the better skimmers in these sort of venues will come off the deck. keeps happening, I might set up a rig that's just off the deck, about 12 inches off the deck. You have to be quite high off the deck, and just, you'd be surprised, you can just leave it sitting there and they just have it. You wouldn't believe it, they would, but they do. Oh, there's some fish there now, Gone straight down. Oh, whether these are liners or whether these are proper indications. Skimmers can do this to you. I've got a 6-inch hook length on because I'm half expected to catch carp, you see, so I've not got a shot too close to the hook. I can see these indications late, or whether I'm lifting too early or what. But normally with expander you want to be on it as soon as you see any sort of indication, just on it. But getting lots of indications at the minute. Just not really successfully hooking anything. It's dibbing now. If I lift up, there's nothing there. A big bow wave coming through. A lot of carp doing that, swimming through really fast. Might be able to see him if I had my polarising glasses at the back of the van. Might be able to mug a few, but you just can't see him in this sky. The sky reflecting on the water, you can't see anything. Another really fast bite that I can't hit. It's odd. Starting to think that maybe these fish aren't on the bottom. Wanting to be on the bottom anyway. Oh, see, I still feel like I've connected with him. Quite high up in the water. Unless he's gone down, picked it up and come back up, I don't know. Not a carp. It feels like a better skimmer. My elastic is a little bit hefty for skimmers, but again, any minute now I could catch a double figure carp. These are the skimmers I want to catch. I can catch these skimmers. And if there's a few of them about, then I'm going to get liners, aren't I? But these are £1.5 all day long. Two pound on my right count thing. As soon as you can see it sort of steady slow away, but there are some fish. I mean, he was up properly, so he's definitely gone down and took the bait right, so I'm just going to have to persevere at it, I think. 2 3/4 hours. I'm actually go for finishing at 5 today because we had a late start than normal. I've been catching odd skimmers from the skimmer line up to about £10 a silver, I think. If my guessing's any good, I'm not weighing them or anything, so it could be a mile off, could be spot on, it could be under, could be over, who knows. So I'll just keep topping this up, and the fish, you know, the fishing seems to be getting stronger on the skimmer line at the moment, touch wood. I've been feeding the longer method line, just constantly banging pellets out there, hoping that eventually some better fish will get their heads down on it. And little skimmers. And I've just put some bait in my left hand margin. Just put a big pot in my left hand margin, just keeping an eye on it. I'm not intending to go and fish that just yet, just give them a free feed. If anything comes in, there's a free feed there for it. And then yeah, if anything comes in, there's a nice little free feed. I'm going to build its confidence up the next time it comes in. And that's it really. Still nobody around here seems to be running away with it. Doesn't seem to matter what size expander at the moment I put on, I'm having both. Just putting the bigger one on because it seems to stay on the off a little bit better today. The little ones seem to be positive about. And also I'm hoping if there's a big carp move into the swim, he'll take the bigger bait, because you know I'd like to get him out. I'm not fishing for a silver. There's no silvers money today. It's been cancelled, so it doesn't really, in fairness, that doesn't really line up with the team event, having somebody fishing for silvers when the team's trying to win, not winning for a silvers prize, should I say, and ignoring carp when the team's trying to win, you know, points. So there's no prize for the top silvers weights, although the silvers do count. So I mean, the reason I'm fishing from at the moment is because it's weight. I've got £10 that I wouldn't have had if I'd have just sat for carp, because I just can't buy a bite off one at the moment. Not the only one. A few people have only had one or none. It seems to me the only people that have caught any number have got islands on this lake anyway. I can't tell about other lakes, but people that have caught on this lake have had an island of a throw at, or some people can even reach with a pole. They've just nicked odd carp, because the carp are shallow, but they're not something in my swim now really turning the bottom over, so I'm suspecting there's something big in the swim. Yeah, so the carp are shallow, so if you've chucked to the island you can catch them shallow. Which is why I've fed the margins early, so I'm thinking if they'll come in and have a bit on the down the margin where it's a bit shallow, then maybe I'll have a few. But I have, like I say, I have tried slapping the rig for quite some time and it was fruitless. I don't want to get drawn into doing that again if I can help it. Oh, just missed a nice bite on this line, but I think it was a liner, to be honest. Loads of fizz came up just then. I don't know if something's just got its head buried in the silt at the moment, having a good dig around, or if it's a big fish or bream or something, but we'll find out. Maybe it'll take the bait in a minute. Yes, that's where we are. I'm aware I ain't done a lot of filming yet, but there's not been a lot to film, just skimmers, you know, odd ones. There's definitely something here at the moment, but it's I'm just going to hold the float sort of 8 inches out of the water and just gently lower it the last few inches to see if something grabs that on the way through. Nope. Weird. It seems like you refeed. I just refed just before I started the cameras, and then I've gone round and fed all the lines. But it seems like you refeed, it goes a bit weird, and then after a few minutes you get a fish, and they tend to be a better one, and then you get a little run of better ones, about 2 or 3, and then it basically drops down to sort of the average sort of stamp, like the one that I caught that you saw just, and then he's just slipped out of the water, and then it peters away a little bit, and I tend to try to feed it before it peters away. Oh man, I mean, he was definitely up properly. This elastic is costing me so many fish. A little look to see if I've got one that's set a little bit softer or something out of them. What I've got. Any softer than him? Not really. No, so I've put a lighter top kit on. I mean, that was a nice bream I've just lost there. I think I've lost £5 of bream off the hook. They've all been properly hooked. Let's try that one. He feels a bit softer. Let's swap this rig over to that. It's just happening too much now. I mean, that's the first time I've seen one that was definitely hooked in them. You know, I've been assuming they were foul hookers, but he weren't foul hooked. And this is soft elastic. This is reasonably soft elastic, the Preston 13 Jura slip, but I've tightened these rigs. You know, I've had to remake the ends of these rigs off last few times I fished with them because they're starting to get tatty. The first few inches of elastic gets tatty after you've caught a few fish on them. And so you just keep tightening them up, and eventually they just get too tight for this sort of stuff. I mean, they're ideal for carp. It's not a bother for carp. But I mean, that was £1.5 skim, and I've lost 3 or 4 of them. So, you know, £6 straight off the bag there if I've lost 4 of them. So I mean, that means I've got to catch another carp now. Or somebody else in my section's got to catch a carp to beat me. That's how you have to think when you're team fishing. So let's see if we can see what this elastic does, if anything different. I mean, to be fair, he did create a bit of slack line, that fish, when he came to the surface. He jumped the surface and he did create a bit of slack. And the line was slack for a few seconds, so maybe the hook came out and then went back in badly and it weren't actually in at all. In the end, it, it probably weren't in properly, but you've got to try and do something, ain't you? And they're just swift sledge of I think they're swallows, just skimming the surface of the water. And what? You know what they are? Cool. It might be a swift. I think swifts do that because they live on the wing a lot and they actually drink whilst they're flying. More indications again, there's something in the swim again. Alright guys, it's about 10 minutes since I last spoke to you. About 2:30 I'd guess, without looking. And when I've been pinging them 8mm all day, I thought I'll just chuck the method over on my clip and it's gone round. I'll just set it up with a couple of maggots on, thinking at least I'll be able to grab a skimmer. This isn't a skimmer, it doesn't feel like a big fish, but it doesn't feel like a skimmer. But then you never know with these big carp, sometimes they just come straight in and then have a good go under the rod tip. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know how big the bream going, it could be a really big bream, I've no idea. I've got a sneaky suspicion it's just a nice carp. I'll take my time, it's a carp, yeah. What we put now, it's put a couple of clicks on the clutch. What we put there. So that's nice, a few fish. Obviously out feeding on them pellets. Let them go a minute while I, whoops, really badly and poorly. Didn't feed that very well, I think he's gone back out to where I hooked him. Maybe he's a better fish. There's some really nice big fish in here, so you've got to be careful when you hook carp here. Because there's some absolute wallers in here. I know this only because one of my friends fish the place regularly and one of them has told me, he's having to £20 at the margins in matches, so I know they're in here. He's not a £20, there he is. He's a nice fish there, he's a lot. He had a big chunk of weight to my net today. I'm hoping he's not a false dawn. And he's not just one freaky fish, I'm hoping that I can get a few more. I've got a little 9-foot ignition rod. Get these rods for like 40 quid I think, something like that. There we go, he's in there, he's had enough. So, but the idea of little rods for these sort of venues that you're not chucking a long way. He's bigger than I thought he was. I thought he was only a £4 but he might be 6 or 7. He needs to calm down a second because it's all too late, buddy. Yeah. Just weigh him so we can get him right. 6. Right guys, it's gone straight round again. Just turned you off and said I'll wait till something exciting happens. And it's gone round again. I'm now starting to really get excited. If I can have a run of fish doing this, even if it's smallish ones like this one seems a bit smaller than the last one. If I can just get a run of fish going, I can get some good points for my team. Just don't want to bomb out. I don't want us to be out of it until the first round just because I can't catch on there. I'm not on a bad peg, so I shouldn't be coming back with a bad result. Maybe I'm not on the best peg on the lake, I don't think, but that's... You know, you can't expect to draw the best peg in the lake every bloody week. Or ever in my case. Mirror this one. Really not a 9-foot rod. Love it with a bend in it. Just got to be careful because I've only got an 0.15 up length. It's not normally I'd fish 0.19 with a method feeder because it's so short with a little 4-inch up length and it's a lot of force going through. It's not allowed to use elasticated feeders in a lot of the fisheries down here in the south, so you get a lot of force on those feeders. Like up in the Midlands and some places in the north, you can use a lot more elasticated feeders and you can get away with a lighter up length because the elastic takes the shock out. But I know you have to be really careful. Oh, it's actually bigger than the last one. I thought he was smaller, but he's not. He's got a very different one. Mouth. That's very unlike the fish at this fishery. They're normally beautiful here. He's got strange gill things going on as well, which I don't know what that is. Yeah, he's nearly 8 years. He's 7.5. I'm going to click 8. I'll put it down. While I was sinking the line, it's ripped off again. This is definitely a smaller carp. Or is it definitely? Maybe it's just swam in to the side here. So it's literally gone in, gone round. So it's 3 carp and 3 puts now. I'm starting to really feel like I'm definitely onto something now. Give these fish a bit more feed. Actually, happy out there. Fish got under my nets then. Well, I need to calm down a bit and not feed so erratically. That was very erratic feeding. That's better. No, it's not a small fish, it can't be. A nice comment. Sorry, I've just realised I've been a bit quiet there. I forgot I was on camera again. I'm just trying to get under my heat nets. Yes, I'm using a Kaizen hook, which I wouldn't normally use for the method. Like I say, I tried this little 4-inch one just for just off the sitting here, just trying to catch some skinners earlier on, but maybe that's a factor. It's a bit lighter and it's wafting up a bit easier. This isn't quite as big as the other two, is he? There you are, nicely hooked. And the chaps, probably 4-pounder. Wow, we can't believe that's gone 7, that has. It's ridiculous if that's £7. it's been a long time coming. This might be the last thing I do all match, but I finally had another one from down the margin. It's solid down there, but I can't get him to take anything. This one's just had it. Jesus, I thought he was going to flip and pull my arm off. He went, some this one did. I thought I was going to sneak him in then. As long as you can sneak him in with this light gear on. Oh, he's popped his nose up right there and I missed him. Well, if you're picking this up on the camera, where's he gone? I got him. Scooped him in. Have a good fish. So hopefully guys we can sneak another one quick. I don't know how long we've got left. Fish is fishing, it's acting like it's up, but it's, I can't see anybody who's playing it. It's right down where I've just put that one, so I'll have another little look now. Didn't even get it. Didn't even get it to the bottom, and it's gone round. Did you see that? I was just trying to get the line off. The line had gone over a leaf, and I was just trying to get it off there. And then I got it off, and I thought, oh, what shall I do? Have I moved the feeder or not? And then the line went tight. There you are. Can't get one down the margins, and then two in the last two puts. More frustrating. We'll go in some. Yeah, as well. Wow, look at that. That's what this day's been like today. Oh, it's one of the best fish I've had as well. And the hooks come out. You go from not catching anything to 2 puts, not catching a carp all day, 3 puts, 3 fish. Now I'm not catching a carp for the rest of the day, 2 puts, 2 fish.